Good morning, everybody, or afternoon on Sunday. I hope everybody is having a good day today. I haven't gotten too much done today because I wanted to be sure I came on here before I got distracted with everything else. Hey, movies, TV shows, how are you doing? Hey, Anik. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I think I've said that before, and I don't know if I ever got told. Hey, Barrett, how are you? Or Barrett? I hope everybody is having a good Sunday. Hey, Blue. I'm just putting some moisturizer on. I'm not going to be doing my makeup this morning. I am going to be working on those rooms and getting the house ready with my husband after this live stream. So I'm not going to put makeup on. That is likely to just get worn off. Hey, Sweet Home. Hey, Christy. Carrie. Kazoo. Zoozles. Jen. Zoe. Marin. Pink Flamingo. Hey, guys. How are you? You're being weirdly productive today. Yeah, I am feeling a lot better. Still not to 100%. More what's here is just like a lingering weird headache. It's not a migraine, but it's just a weird headache it's like all right in this area of my head for some reason. I don't know why it won't go away. I've tried to take like Tylenol. I've tried to take Excedrin. It just doesn't want to go away. So I'm not going to let that prevent me from being productive and moving on because I can work through it. So that's what I'm going to do today. Hey, Melody. I'm not feeling too bad. I was feeling a whole heck of a lot worse last week or so, which is why I really was just uploading a lot of makeup videos, and I wasn't going live often just because I couldn't stay up was part of the issue. I couldn't really concentrate to really even get my points across. And the few makeup videos I did, those were easier, but it wasn't, I still was like having to clip parts out because I was rambling about stuff that didn't even make sense. So it was weird. I'm a lot better now, though. Thank you guys for all asking. Hey, Kathy. Oh, I'm glad your son gets to come home. Hey, Frenchie Taylor. It's nighttime where you're at? Okay. It is almost 11:30 where I'm at. Shopping makeup for your older granddaughters, thinking ColourPop. Any suggestion for 17-year-olds? I would think ColourPop is a good price range, and most of their products get pretty decent reviews. I have heard some influencers like say it's hit and miss, but if you obviously when you have teenagers, I wouldn't recommend buying really expensive or luxury makeup. Not that I think they're not worthy of it. It's more of those are expensive products, and teenagers aren't always the nicest with their products. And if you have a lot to buy for, like several different, it can get really, really pricey, especially right now with the way the world is. I wouldn't advise anybody to purchase like expensive makeup unless it's in your budget. If it's in your budget, do you, but don't end up making yourself hurt later financially because you purchased something expensive. But ColourPop is a good price range. I know Morphe gets hit and miss reviews. I don't have any Morphe palettes, but I've heard that their palettes are pretty decent. So that might be a brand you want to look at as well. I recently did a Natasha Denona versus e.l.f., the little mini e.l.f. palettes that are like $3. I can show you what they look like if you didn't see that video. These palettes, these are only like $3 each, and the quality is really well. And if you get a couple of them, they'll have a good bit of a color scheme. So, I mean, that's an idea too. You had to type her name over 3 times. What, my name or somebody else's? Hey, GGB. So I don't want to waste too much time because I did tell my husband I wouldn't stay on past like an hour or so, just so we have a lot that we have planned today. I'm going to try and vlog / film, I don't know what to really call it, of us, but not of him. I've had that conversation with you guys. He doesn't really want to be on camera. He might eventually, but right now he doesn't feel comfortable. So that has a ton of, yeah, Sephora has their own brand, and Sephora's own brand is pretty good too. I think it is a little bit more pricey than ColourPop is though. Hey, Carrie. Yeah, definitely good stocking stuffers. Hey, Crystal. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Heather. You love ColourPop. So Zoe loves ColourPop, and they had some sales over Thanksgiving, it looks like. Yeah, the most glitters, especially if it's packed glitters, have a good bit of fallout. So that's why whenever I'm playing with palettes that are more pigmented or are chunky glitter, I will almost always do my eyeshadow first, so it doesn't create a mess of the fallout. You have so much unused stuff going on with Kari soon. No, my name, yeah, I don't, who knows? So I don't know where you guys want to start today about all of the stuff that has been going on that I really haven't talked about. Some of it is just like petty drama that happened over the past week. Some is ongoing patterns with some individuals that we've seen. There's been the drama with Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein on the H3H3 podcast. There has been some issues with Smokey Glow and how her and Angelica, I saw Petty Page went on Twitter, a long Twitter thread about an issue she had with another creator. I saw that last night. I don't know if anybody has seen that or if it's even still up. And then there is the ongoing drama of Without a Crystal Ball that I haven't talked about pretty much, I think, since I've been sick. I haven't talked about like her patterns that are continuing, although she's trying to make it seem she's changed. There's definitely patterns going on. Part of the reason I didn't talk about it was I was trying to film an old reaction video and include new clips. I filmed it twice. It was 2 hours each time I filmed it, but I had technical issues even the second time I filmed it. So I'm not going to do a reaction. I'm going to redo how I'm going to do that video. But I mean, her pattern is so telling. So what do you guys want to talk about first? I did not watch the Emily Baker Nate live stream last night. I did not. The Nick and Dustin drama is really petty. People were coming at them and like trying to say that Nick didn't purchase that car, and then people were for Dustin, and people were kind of judging them for posting on their social medias that he purchased Dustin a car for Christmas. I don't get it. I don't feel like it was insensitive. I can see where people, if they were shoving it in our faces, I can see where maybe people could be a little bit upset about it with the economy and people being out of work and things like that. I can see that, but I did not see either one of them post or push it into our faces as if that's what their intent was. It was more like, hey, this is the gift I got type thing. So that was there. It's a really petty, stupid drama, but people are dragging it out, and both Nick and Dustin are super shady. So of course they throw shade in their videos about people, especially because they've done a lot of like car videos lately. They kind of throw subtle shade at people saying that it wasn't purchased or that it's leased, or which why I don't know why it would really matter in the first place, but I can understand like if people are being nasty to them about purchasing a vehicle, whether they bought it outright or they leased it. I don't see how people are using that, or why really people are using that. If they have the financial means to purchase a vehicle, I think it's fine. So I don't know. That's my opinion. I think it's really petty. But Nick and Dustin tend to, at times, like when they are called out, it kind of does end up being a little bit petty on why stuff starts. The Smokey Glow thing is interesting to you. Anyone who comes at them is a hater. I can see that. I can see where I think they're just defensive, and they both openly admit, like, if you come for me, I'm gonna come back for you, which in it on its face is immature. It really is. But if that's how they've handled their YouTube platforms, and if that's how they want to continue to do so, I mean, as a subscriber of theirs, I almost anticipate it at this point in time. But I mean, it's childish, it's kind of immature, but I still like their content in them, so it doesn't bother me that much. Bruce said someone sent a very obvious document about the car costing an insane amount. I'm sure that car was expensive. I'm not going to say that. I'm sure it is. I'm not going to go looking for how much that car costs, but people need to keep in mind, like, Nick is a former model, so I'm sure if he played his finances right, I'm sure he has a lot more money than what people even think. And that's just me assuming. I don't know for sure, but if he had the ability to purchase the car outright, he obviously had some kind of monies. They're in the process of moving in together and making a life together. Of course, they want to share their experience and stuff. Yeah. You enjoy Smokey Glow, but she's rubbed you the wrong way more than once with a superior attitude. She is young and doesn't know it all. Yeah, I've talked about Smokey Glow and like how I've kind of been weirded out by some things over the past like year or so. I still have been subscribed to her, but I honestly haven't watched all of her content. So also the Leslie Bass stuff. Yeah, that's an update with the Katie stuff. So glad Leslie is getting the truth about what happened to her. Yeah. Hey, JJ Wood, I'm glad you made it. You don't know either of them. If they both Nick Snyder or The Viewer's Voice and Dustin Daly, they both have been I would call some of the OG like drama channels on the platform. They've been here for a while. Nick was here before the John Cuckian stuff, but I think Dustin started to gain his popularity from the John Cuckian stuff, rightfully so, in my opinion. I know Nick Snyder had been on the platform longer because I had already been subscribed to Nick. At that time, he was more, I don't know if these videos are up anymore, but he was more of like a sit down, talk with his audience, he got into some personal drama, which I believe was with another YouTuber, but the drama was personal, and that was going on when I first started watching him. He also used to do some makeup related stuff. Not like serious makeup stuff, but he would show products and he would like use products and stuff like that. I feel like the lighting in here keeps changing. It's hard to respect them when they have defended Shane. I mean, everybody can have their own opinion, right? And if you don't want to respect somebody because of other stuff, that's totally within your right. But I think a lot of people have lost respect for how they have covered some of that other drama with the other larger creators. Yeah, a lot of people kind of seem it comes from his channel. I mean, even if the money is coming from his channel and not his previous modeling career, he's an adult. He can make whatever financial purchases he wants. I don't really think it's anybody's game to judge. I don't want somebody judging me for purchasing a car that I have 2 years ago. I mean, and my car's not a Cadillac by any means, but I don't want people to judge me because I was able to get it at the time. Like, why? I don't feel like I understand how people get upset because of the current situation, but if they are financially able to do so, I don't think it should be an issue what they do. For buying a dog with health needs that nobody else wanted. They got shamed for that. I only watched part of their puppy video. I didn't watch all of it. The Smokey Glow thing, I thought Angelica seemed sweet, but I literally just started watching them both a little once in a while. You're not a Smokey Glow fan. Yes, Leslie Bass did change her name. She often was being referred to as LB, like her initials. So she put a community post up last night that she has spelled out LB. So it's ELLE space BEE, which I think is really cute. She could do some really cute branding with her name like that. I don't know anything about Smokey Glow at all. You've never watched her. You don't know the drama with her. Okay, well, we'll talk about the Smokey Glow stuff. I just want to make sure there's any other strong opinions about the Nick and Dustin stuff and their car stuff, I will talk to it. And it is a good segue because Smokey Glow had a drama last year around this time with Nick Snyder and their whole like friend group, so to speak. You thought so? You were confused this morning. Were you there with the old BB? Oh my God. When we had panels and his best friend, Vanessa. I never watched the panel stuff. So I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm not a huge fan of like panels. I understand the use of them, but I would personally get overwhelmed. I'm not saying I will never do a panel. I have had some of my subscribers DM me and ask if that's something I would ever consider, and I will consider it. I will just be very strict about how many people are in and stuff like that because I will get very overwhelmed very easily. You think people are jealous? Haylene, how are you? Jamal says if Nick didn't ask you for a loan, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same thing. Like, it's creating drama where I'm not saying that it's something that maybe let's look at this for a second. If they had been asking for super chats or asking for additional monies and it seemed like they were, kind of crowdsourcing and then they got the car, then I would say, yeah, you can maybe give criticism of you not liking that because they had recently done this and it seems a little fishy. That doesn't mean that that's what creators are technically doing, but I think that does open the gate for criticism. But if nothing like that is happening prior, YouTube is their job. So they're getting paid by Google to have their YouTube channels. If it is helping them be lucrative and have, a lot of money, then, that's their job. That's just like if they were going to a 9-to-5. I don't think it's very fair for us to judge them or try and give them criticism because they have managed their money from their YouTube channels well. We're all adults, and I think we can each decide for ourselves what creators we want to follow. I agree with that. Like, if there's creators that I watch Nick and Dustin. I know that they are polarizing. I watch Petty Page. I know she can be polarizing. I watch a lot of creators who not a lot of people like for different reasons. But I'm not going to tell you guys unless you ask if I'm like, you guys should subscribe to them. It really just depends on what kind of content you want. You think people are mad about the car because of the economic climate. I can understand that, but I don't think it's fair to pinpoint it on them. They're not the only ones purchasing vehicles right now. If they have the money, I don't think it's our place to judge. I do get it. It can seem insensitive, but I don't feel they were pushing it in our faces as an insensitive thing. You like Leslie's new name. You don't know the Smokey Glow stuff. Hey, Vic, you don't know this community much, but even I can tell it's been a crazy week with the drama in the community. I'm just here to support Amanda and learn a little something. Well, I appreciate you being here, Vic. You think because some people are maybe struggling with money. Yeah, I can understand where people are maybe coming from. And, you know, part of it, I do admit, is them feeding into it and being shady moving forward. I think they just get super frustrated. So they just do, like, they get tired of people coming at them for every little move that they make. So they've always been a little bit shady. They've always had a little bit of an attitude. So they just say how it is and, you know, move on. That's kind of how they've always handled their content and their subscribers. Hey, Bugsy B. They didn't buy a Ferrari. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Oh, I forget about that. They both have OnlyFans as well, so they're getting income from that. Okay, so we're gonna move on from the Nick and Dustin stuff and start talking about the Smokey Glow stuff. So I am going to be totally honest in the fact that I have not looked at everything on why people are having issues with Angelica. I have seen what people are saying and why there's an issue with Angelica. But the thing with Smokey Glow is if you watch Smokey Glow, she's a beauty influencer / drama channel. She does a lot of makeup related stuff. She always has, but she also has always provided her commentary about drama. And she's always kind of done drama related content. So she's kind of a mixture of both, really. And every year she does Glowmas, which she uploads every day in December. And she's also released makeup. Yeah, she did do a collab with Midas Cosmetics. You like Angelica? Yeah, so what happened was she did a collab video with Angelica, and people in her comment sections allegedly, I actually didn't watch this collab video, but people in her comment section were saying that they were disappointed in Smokey Glow for openly supporting Angelica because she has said some microaggressive things. And I think they were saying she has been rude to fans before. I think that was the general consensus of what people were saying. So Smokey Glow got a lot of hate, allegedly, people providing these messages of disappointment. And initially she had put out on Twitter something along the lines of, you know, I'm friends with her, not really defending her about what people's concerns were, but was saying, like, I'm friends with her, you know, I've talked to her. And then a day or two later, maybe a little bit longer, Smokey Glow then goes out and says, I'm retracting my support of Angelica after looking into all of the concerns people had. So people are kind of questioning a couple of different things. And I really don't know exactly, because I don't know what people are alleging Angelica did, and I am going to say it's an allegation because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I haven't seen that. So I'm not going to say it's not there. It hasn't happened. If it has, then yes, the behavior should be addressed. It doesn't mean that people can't grow and learn. I have seen that this stuff was occurring kind of recently, but still, like, people make mistakes, especially when you are online. You are hyper judged and you are signing up to that. So if you're going to make a mistake, you have to be ready to own up to the mistake that you've made, to address the mistake that you made, and hope that people forgive you and move on. I don't know if that happens. It seems like maybe that didn't happen, and that's why people are upset. But it's interesting that so quickly Smokey Glow flip-flops on how she feels about Angelica and their friendship. And that's causing a little bit of question in my mind about her and her content, because Nick Snyder did have an issue with her about a year ago where I personally didn't think she handled it to the best that she could have. But that's my opinion. So here we have two instances of Smokey Glow kind of doing things that make me question her authenticity a little bit and her genuineness a little bit. And I've already, as I've told you guys, I already have kind of been on the fence with Smokey Glow about like my connection to her as a subscriber and a viewer. So let me catch up to what you guys are saying. I've wanted to get that first bit out so people knew what we were talking about before I started reading comments. Has Angelica posted anything on her socials? I don't think she has. Not at this point, not that I've seen or been aware of. People don't like the certain creators will blast them for any little thing. That's true. That's very true, Kathy. Who hasn't said microaggressive things at some point in their life? I mean, you have a valid point. Like, we are in 2020. There's a lot of stuff going on with movements and like Black Lives Matter and everything, but a lot of people have been being called out for being microaggressive or for just being flat out racist. And some of those people definitely warrant being labeled those terms. If you have the experience of being shamed that way, then I think you are within your rights to come out and talk about it. If anybody here doesn't know or doesn't understand microaggression, Swoop did a really good video, although she's calling out another YouTuber. She really explains microaggression in a very easy to digest and understand way. I would advise you to go watch that video. But we all at some point, I feel, have made those mistakes. And when you are an influencer or a public figure and you make those mistakes, especially when there are so many movements, there's so many things going on to try and change how people think. If you make that mistake, you need to address it. Unless you stand behind the mistake that you made and you truly believe what you had said in that sentence or whatever it is, I feel like you should come out and apologize and explain your ignorance or explain where you were coming from. I'm not saying excuse yourself for what you said, but address it as an adult from a place of ignorance that you either didn't know or you knew and you just didn't realize the impact it would have. Honesty, when you are dealing with stuff like this, goes a lot farther, in my opinion, than trying to sweep it under the rug or not acknowledge it, because people catch it, especially when you're an influencer. People watch your every move. People are waiting for you to make a mistake. People are waiting to call you out on stuff. You don't understand why people are mad at her. Those are the videos, what Angelica did, and there is a thread on Beauty Guru Chatter with receipts. So I guess there's a website you can go to. I've heard of Beauty Guru Chatter. I've never gone to it. If it's anything like Reddit, I will be totally confused and lost. You watched both videos and thought they did a good job. You don't know that she had retracted that. I didn't know this stuff about Angelica either, Jen. Yeah, I saw that Crystal, that KJ tweeted it and is like, and I think that's looping into other stuff, to be quite honest. Angelica had not ignored and actually listened to the concerns rather than deleting and blocking them, and was willing to admit, okay, thank you, Laura. You're providing a little bit more context. So it seems that she's maybe said something or did something, and people were calling her out on it, and she was trying to censor the fact that people noticed her mistake and she was censoring them and not addressing it. Then yeah, that honestly, like, I like Angelica, but that's an issue. In today's world, that's especially right now when we are when a lot of Caucasian, white creators are trying to be allies and trying to better educate and help support the Black Lives Matter movement and support Black creators and Black people. If you're going to make a mistake like that right now, you deserve to be called out and you deserve to address it. If it's something that your fans are noticing or your subscribers, whatever you want to call whoever watches her, you need to kind of be an influencer, use your influence at that point, and it would go further in the long run if these influencers who are making these comments of just saying, I didn't understand the insensitive context I used, whatever she said, however she said it, and learn from it and tell how you plan on learning from it. Tell how you plan on working on yourself through that. I feel like that would be a lot more commendable than deleting it or trying to hide it, because as we see, it's going to come back. It doesn't go away. You also read that Smokey Glow had made a video saying she didn't like Manny and did a collab. Yeah, Maria, that was something that was in Nick Snyder's video of her. So last year, Nick Snyder threw a Christmas party of which her, Smokey Glow, and her boyfriend, who is now her husband, were invited to. I don't know. I watched all of these channels at this time, and I don't know if it was like known she was invited to this prior to the video she released. I really don't. I can't remember. We did know a party was happening and that a lot of different creators, drama type creators, were going to be present. What ended up happening was there was some drama that kind of broke out amongst the drama channels, and Smokey Glow took it to her platform. She filmed a video saying that she was kind of scared and she didn't want to get involved with all of that. So she was not going to go to the party, and she figured it would be important for her to inform her audience that she was not going to this party. It has come out since then that she did not have any conversation with Nick prior to releasing that video, which in my opinion is rude. Like, if you are invited to somebody's party and it's just days before, I don't think it's a very nice thing to not say, hey, I'm not coming. It doesn't mean you have to give an excuse or a reason, but just saying, hey, I'm not going to make it, I think would have gone a lot further. There was going to be drama no matter what. Like, let's be real. There would have been drama no matter what. But the fact that she didn't address it with him, who was throwing the party, who was hosting the party, I'm sure he was buying refreshments and drinks and things of that nature for the party. It's kind of crappy to just not show up and not say anything. And the way that he finds out is through a YouTube video. I agree. That's kind of childish. It's kind of rude. All right. But to answer your question, that is when Manny MUA was brought up in that video. And I didn't know she had made a comment like that until I watched Nick's video. But Nick's video, he made the claim that Smokey Glow has said she won't support Manny. And then she did a collab. And so he was saying that she is very much an opportunist, which I'm not going to call her that because I don't know, but I will say, like, I have noticed some things in her behavior differently that I haven't liked. And I've talked with you guys about it before. I think she gets a little bit preachy and tries to use her degree in a way that I don't like how she uses it, because I have the same degree she does. You don't think she should have released the statement or pinned it on Twitter? She should have spoke directly. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that people are having a criticism of Smokey Glow about is that she just posted these things and it seemed as though she hadn't spoken to Angelica. And I'm not sure if there's been clarification to that, but it seemed like she wasn't talking to her. She looked into the allegations and made the decision. And I'm not saying that she technically flip-flopped. I find that ironic that that is the excuse she's using, because prior she had defended her collab and said that she was friends with Angelica. And I know friends can be a loose term, but we see this happen all the time on this platform. If you say you're friends with somebody and you come out with a collab video, people are going to question, you said you were friends, so maybe were you not actually friends? Because if you're friends and you're going to co-sign something by saying you're their friend, most people generally are coming from the point of, you should have maybe known of this behavior if you were her friend. Like maybe there would have been some kind of conversation about it, or maybe she would have observed it. I think that's where that argument is coming from. Yeah, Jamal is saying, from your understanding, Smokey blasted her publicly and didn't talk to her prior to doing so. At first, you weren't sure if it was Angelica Oles or Angelica Nyquist, but she can rub others the wrong way at times as well. I am subscribed to Angelica Nyquist, but I have not, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but I have not watched her content in like the last year. I've kind of pulled away from makeup content and have ventured into other genres. You would love to hear from Angelica. I mean, if she still hasn't, which as far as I am aware, she hasn't, I'm pretty sure she will at some point either make a video or make a statement. She's probably trying to be as mature about it as she can. That's what I am going to assume. You've seen the big clown KJ being on Twitter. I told everyone what Angelica was like months ago. But she didn't tell us what Angelica was like months ago. She used a situation, Katie used a situation which she was in the wrong. And I don't want to say she was in the wrong. It's just ironic because she tried to do the same thing Angelica did, but she cannot seem to understand that what Angelica was asking of her at the time is the same thing of what she was asking another creator of in recent times. Hey, Claire Bear. Hey, BBs. The problem is not that microaggressive things are said. The problem is when that is brought up to your attention and you disregard and then block people who try to educate you. I can agree with that, definitely, Peapot Fairy. From someone that is constantly macroaggressive, I totally understand the microaggressions can be quite prevalent, especially on the internet. Accountability is the name of the game. I agree. Yeah, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. You say in Smokey Glow's pinned comment, she states she has encouraged Angelica to address the issue. So I'm assuming they have been talking before she made her statement. I hope so. I mean, I think it would take back some of the backlash that Smokey Glow is getting if she has talked to Angelica, and it would be smart for Angelica to address it. And I'm not even saying address the Smokey Glow drama. If she doesn't want to address the fact that people are, judging Hannah, who is Smokey Glow, for this, she can just address the primary issue on why Hannah felt it was necessary for her to come out and say these things publicly. Hey, Jake's Baby Cakes, glad you made it. You think Smokey Glow has a bad pattern of blasting people online instead of speaking to people? Nick still holds a grudge. Absolutely, he does. I mean, it was kind of evident. I agree with people saying that you're tired of hearing about it. I am too. I've never provided my opinion on that that situation, which is the only reason why I bring it up. And it also does bring context to behavior, which I try my best to, when I'm providing my opinion or my thoughts on other creators, I try to make sure I'm doing the same with everybody. If I want to hold Katie Joy to her patterns of behavior, I should be holding Nick Snyder, Dustin Date, all of these other creators I talk about when I'm talking about their dramas to their patterns. But I get it. From what you understand, she had done those while defending. People advised her of such. We learn microaggressions from our family, who learned it from family. Sometimes you don't even understand it's microaggression. Yeah, exactly. Swoop's video makes it very, hey, Solo 7, she lays out what microaggression is from her perspective and her point of view very well. I think it can educate a lot of people. I know that video has gotten a ton of views, but I have advised people to watch that before when anything about race is brought up, because I mean, I know what microaggression is and I can explain it to a degree, but I don't experience it. So me trying to explain it and provide examples is not going to be near enough educated or give you guys the full picture without you hearing it from someone who experiences it regularly, who is the one who deals with the effects of it regularly. My explanation and definitions I don't feel are appropriate. I feel it should come from somebody who is of color and can legitimately provide you those experiences and those reasons and how they experience the microaggressions. I think that is more educational, especially in current day. You think a lot of other creators seem to call out others' bad behavior and ignoring their own. Yeah, and I wonder in situations like that, like if are people bringing it to their attention that there is a concern with their own behavior and they're ignoring it, or are these creators like totally unaware, like not self-aware at all to realize they're doing the same thing? You don't understand the constant need for creating drama out of nothing. Why can't some things be handled in private? I mean, that's an ongoing issue all across the internet. Hey, Shell Belly. Hey, Michelle. Hannah had to make the public statement when she deleted her video because she previously had it pinned to a comment to the video defending Angelica. So deleting without addressing that would have been bad. Yeah, I really do think like Hannah was stuck in a damned if she did, damned if she didn't. Like this was going to cause drama either way. Unfortunately, I think people were going to call her out whether she left the video up and didn't addressed it blanketedly, or if she took the video down and didn't address it. I really do think she was going to get hate one way or another. Instead of saying, I don't want to go to your party, she went to, oh, yeah. In the South, when you're, talking about the old stuff. She even said something bad about Jen Loves. How can that be? I haven't heard her say anything bad about Jen Loves, but I also haven't heard her make those comments about Manny MUA. But I don't watch every move every creator makes. Hey, Nana Kimber. You think Smokey Glow was trying to do this, that addressing her own microaggressions while defending her friend, reflecting on how that made people feel, then addressed it and apologized and educated herself. Hey, Angel Cake. Oops. I just jumped in the chat, so I'm sorry if I missed anybody's comments. You haven't watched her, so you don't know anything about her other than what Nick said. And you have to keep in mind, like, that's going to happen. Viewers are not going to get along with everybody's personalities. Viewers are only going to subscribe to who they like. So there's going to be people out there who are subscribed to Angelica and not Smokey, and vice versa. And when other creators, even myself, get involved, I doubt people are subscribed to me that don't know who either one of them are, but there's always that chance. So people are going to have their opinions slightly formed ahead of time before knowing all of the information. And until all of the information is laid out, people are going to probably continue to support and side with the creator that they know more about and they like more. You think it's weird that Paige defends him and you are a Black woman? Thank you, Crystal. You're very sweet. If he considers them friends, he speaks to them about the issue first. Then you seem awfully invested in whataboutisms here. Dustin didn't do it to Nick. Paige got raked through the coals for defending Nick and Dustin's reaction to SG's statement last year because of the party. She stood up for them and got so much hate for it. Yeah, she did. She really did. Anybody who defended Nick and Dustin when all of this was going on got a lot of criticism back. I don't like using the word hate, but people did definitely judge her and say that she wasn't being fair and that she was being biased. And I mean, to a degree, was she probably biased because she was their friends? Yeah. But the way that that all played out on a public platform without it being addressed to Nick, it wasn't very nice. I mean, it's not courteous. So, in my opinion, it wasn't something courteous to be done in the manner it was done in. I'm not saying she had to go, like, but maybe addressing it in a different way would have been better. Question for the chat or Amanda, do any of y'all feel like being a content creator adds another variable or dimension to these issues being people? Essentially, does knowing that views play a part change it? I think as a creator, and I'm sure other creators feel, I don't want to speak for other creators, but if I feel anything, I'm sure larger creators who have larger followings feel it more, especially if they're doing this for the income. They are going to, I try my best. Let me just speak for myself rather than anybody else. I try my best to be as fair and provide my opinions about any topic that people ask me to talk about. Now, if we're talking about like the microaggression and the racism, I try to not talk about that because I don't have the experience. I do something called open discussions once a week where we talk about real world issues and like give our experiences and things like that. And people have asked me to be open to doing something like that around racism, and I haven't, because I said I'm not going to talk about that without having someone of color being willing to get on here and really provide their experiences while we talk about it so it can be educational. So I can see, like, I don't feel it's comfortable for me morally. I don't feel comfortable talking about things because I don't want to miseducate and misinform. So I would think larger creators feel that even more, but I try my best to make sure I'm not being super offensive or I'm not thinking about something before I say it, because although my platform is small, I still have somewhat of a platform and people listen to what I say. So I want to be sure I'm not offending any large groups of people. And if I ever do that, I hope whoever I offend does call me out so I can educate myself, so I can address it and learn from it and move on. I'm sure some of these larger creators feel that way. I can't speak for them or to them, but I don't know if views play a part of it. For creators who are doing this full time and this is how they're making their money, then I'm sure it does have a large say in how they handle things. You know, I am monetized, but I'm not making hardly anything. And what I do make comes back into the channel. So my views and my subscriber count does not affect how I conduct my content or my live streams. I hope that answered your question, Vic. You think it's sad because she's on YouTube, she dumps her friend in front of thousands of people to not get canceled. And I don't know if that is it. I know a couple of people have made that same kind of comment, that people think Smokey Glow retracted and reacted the way she did because she got called out. I don't know. Like, she said she was friends with her, so maybe she didn't know of these behaviors, because another reason why people were having issues with Angelica is because she deleted it and she was trying to hide it. So we can't really, in my opinion, until Angelica talks, you know, it's just hypotheticals because we don't know her point of view. I understand receipts and things like that maybe on other websites showing the behavior, but until we know why Angelica was deleting things or trying to hide things, I don't think we're going to fully, or at least for me, I'm not going to fully be able to form my opinion. I can say I have concerns on how this has happened, but I'm not going to damn either creator. I'm going to be super careful in watching their content. And if I continue to see poor behaviors and poor patterns that lead into this concerning things I have in the back of my mind, I will unsubscribe from a creator. And that's not just Angelica and Smokey Glow, that's all creators. I feel like we hold commentary channels to such a higher standard than we ourselves don't even live up to. Yes and no. I mean, as a viewer, you can make that comment. If that's something that you feel yourself is doing or you have seen others do or others say, then I'm not going to say that that's not valid. I think people expect others on larger influencers. I think people are expecting them to not make some of the mistakes that they're making. And truth be told, mistakes are going to be made no matter how large your platform is. To me, what speaks to the creator is how they handle it and how they go forward. If they're being weird or shady or not really addressing the actual issue, but it's like they're manipulating people into thinking that they're addressing the issue, then that's where I have issues. That's where my concerns start to pop up, which is kind of what's happening with Hannah, to be honest. I've already had some concerns that weren't even related to drama, just that I didn't like how she was conducting some of her content, which is my opinion as a viewer. I can have that. So I've already kind of been turned off by her a little bit. and then take into account some of these dramas she's been involved in over the last couple of years of her time on YouTube, it leads me to want to pay more attention to how she's going to handle and conduct herself moving forward. I'm not sure what's going on between some people in the comment sections, but don't argue with each other, please. I don't like it when people are arguing. You can have a conversation by all means, but don't argue with each other. If you don't like what we're talking about here, you are welcome to leave. I would hope that you'd be willing to listen to everybody's opinion, but if you don't want to, that's fine. Don't subject yourself to it. Hey, Smiley Mama. I hope you have a good day at work. I might have Michelle. I try to say hi to people, but I'm not the best at it always. Oops. Let's see. Okay. You know, it's not open conversation. It's all of my chats really are open conversations. I know it frustrates people who watch my live streams in replay because we're not always on one topic at a time and we bounce around. But Dottie or Dodie, feel free to ask whatever question you have. I mean, everybody, and this is an unpopular thing for me to say, but every creator, once you get to a certain point, you're going to have fans that are going to defend you no matter what. Even if they are able to identify the concern people have, there's going to be fans that are going to go into other people's comment sections and they're going to defend them. I think that's fine as long as they're going to be respectful. The second that the line starts being crossed for being respectful is when I start to have an issue. I see that there's somebody that may be doing that in the comments. If it continues, they will be blocked. I'm not going to name who it is, but be respectful. Don't come at other people. Having an open adult conversation is very different than saying other people's opinion is bad and that me as a creator talking about this is boring. That's rude. There's no point for it. I don't care if you think what I'm talking about is boring, but if it's going to disrupt everybody else, that's when you need to stop and either leave or just silently watch. That is my opinion. That's how I conduct my healthy comment section. People seem to be more upset at a creator who wants to distance herself from someone who seems unwilling to learn from her audience and concerns. I can see that. Yeah, seems like we're kind of talking about fans. Fans of everybody can be toxic. Most business has an agenda to make money. Not getting what you're talking about. Oh, there's a couple of different conversations going on in the comments that seems to be just dealing with a few people I haven't been reading out. You don't understand why people can't agree to disagree and not judge people based on their friends or relatives. I am my own person and like learning about other opinions. I'm not sure. I'm one of the same. I believe in what you're saying here. I don't put other people's actions and behaviors onto their brother, their sister, their, especially when they're an adult. I don't put forth that, because if we did, we all at some point are probably related or have been friends with somebody who has done things that you don't agree with morally or that you don't accept. That doesn't mean that the person you are friends with or the person that is in your family that you're close to is doing those things that the other person is doing. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say, Jakes. And I think it does to some degree translate online, but not fully, because when you have two creators who are friends and they're openly friends, they say they're good friends, and one does something really bad, I have seen people say the friend, if they don't say where their behavior is bad publicly, then they are accused of co-signing the behavior, right? Do I think that that's always appropriate? No. That's when I think it becomes like a situational thing, and it depends on what is going on, what is the larger picture here before we can, at least for me, before I will say that the friend should be held accountable to the action the person did. You think Hannah is held to a higher standard because she has chosen to put her progressive politics at the forefront of her content. This has made many. I agree. Hannah has kind of put herself in a position and has made herself seem like, and this is just my interpretation, but she has made herself seem like I have a good wealth of knowledge about these political issues. Here's my political views. Here's my opinion about these creators and how they're handling themselves with their problematic behavior. Here's my degree, which backs up my education on this. Boasting herself and her intelligence and her education up, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I think that's why people are holding her to a higher standard, is because she has put herself in that position. I don't think she just got there because that's how people felt. I think she assisted in people feeling like she should be up higher in how she handles these problematic behaviors because of what she has done previously. And that's just my interpretation of how she is getting as much backlash from this as she is. This particular incident with Angelica. What are your thoughts on Without a Crystal Ball this last week? I'm going to go through, Maria, I'm going to go through and just make sure that we have covered most of the topics that everybody is mentioning here. And make sure everybody's opinion and conversation is being heard in relation to this Smokey Glow stuff. And if it is, then we'll move on to Without a Crystal Ball. And I'm only going to stay on for about another 30 minutes because that's what I told my husband was an hour and a half max. I think if it's drama commentary channels don't learn to behave, I think sooner or later YouTube is going to get tired of it and demonetize everybody. Bonnie Bell, it's interesting that you say that because Aphrodite did a reading on the drama channel community, and his reading was very much to the lines of, hey, if you guys don't get in line, if you guys don't start fixing the way that you're conducting yourselves in a poor manner, YouTube's going to step in, and a few people are going to ruin that for you. And if we're not careful as a community, we are all going to suffer from it. I found his reading very interesting. It was one of his first reading videos that I have watched. I've always heard of Aphrodite, but I never watched his content. And I watched that video and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I foresee myself watching more of his content. It's important to respect each other's opinions, or at least everyone's right to their own opinion. Agree to disagree. You never know what information you've missed. We are constantly evolving. I agree with that. Who is BTS? You don't know all of the abbreviations yet. I missed whatever comment you're referring to, Crystal. She's probably referring to the Korean band. But I'm not 100% sure. Oops. Bye, Vic. I appreciate you being here. Hey, Nicole. Yeah, I was right. She was talking about the Korean band. I'm not sure what your comment was previous about that, though. Maximum Effort says she easily could have validated her fans by saying she appreciated their concerns and is addressing it privately. She can also sever her relationship privately and not endorse her anymore. I mean, and that's the thing, like where people were going to make decisions, that is a decision she could have made. Instead, she chose the decision that we're seeing play out. I mean, who knows why? Unless Hannah's going to come out and tell us why she made the decisions to behave the way she did around this, we're never going to know. There's always multiple choices, and we use our discretion to make what choice we think is going to be the best for us. And that's the reality of it. That's what her fans probably don't want to hear. It's what a lot of people probably don't want to hear. But ultimately, our final decision, when we have multiple moral choices in front of us, we're going to take into consideration more heavily, how is this going to affect me? Because to some degree, we are all selfish. That's why fight or flight exists and things like that, because we want ourselves to survive in the long run, no matter what context you want to put it in, whether it's your career, whether it is your public image, whether it's how a friend sees you, or the larger people at hand. You're going to do what you think is going to be best for you in the long run. So I am assuming here her decision and how she decided to handle this and move forward. She probably had conversations with people close to her, asked their opinion, reflected on all of that, and then made the decision to move forward the way she did, because she thinks it was collectively, from what she had heard and how she had digested it herself, what was going to be best for her. You love Aphrodite. He has an amazing personality. I've always heard about him, but like I said, I had never watched his content, but he is so funny. Fandoms, yeah, the BTS fandoms they're quite dangerous, to be honest. They can be very dangerous. So, yeah, a lot of creator stuff does seem to be handled publicly at times. I don't get it. Like, you guys know I'm friends with Radiant Brit, and if her and I ever have a falling out, I can almost guarantee neither one of us will bring it public. Will it be something that at one point we may have to mention? We would mention it at that point. But leading up to that, like, we're not going to publicly shame each other or anything like that. Not that I foresee us not ever being friends, but it's a possibility as a part of being friends. People change, people's opinions change, people do things that other people don't agree with. It's how much of an adult are you going to be? As adults, we all go through friendships, we all go through relationships even that don't work out. And it's not always because something bad happened. I hear often marriages, people getting divorced and stuff like that, not because anything bad was done in the marriage, not because there was any vow broken, just simply because the two fell out of love and stopped that connection. And that probably is an issue that goes on both parties at some point, that they stopped giving their partner the love and affection and attention that they once did, so they start to fall out of love with one another. But things like this happen all the time. We can't just assume that because people are no longer friends, it is because something very serious happened or some moral code was broken, because that's, in reality, that's not always the case. Is that a lot of the case sometimes when it's unexpected? Yeah, but if it's not unexpected, which I think is where the issue lies as I'm talking this out, between the Smokey Glow and Angelica situation, is she put up the collab, she defended it initially, and then she retracted it in such a short time frame that it causes people to have concerns that like there was a decision that was made quickly. I appreciate that, Amber Chick. I always appreciate your support. She is Jamal. Radiant Brit is awesome. There's so much immaturity. I didn't behave this way even as a teen. I think a lot of it has to do on YouTube is people, I've talked about this before, creators, even though they become friends with each other, they still are viewing them to some degree as competition. I mean, I'm just going to say what I really feel. I think creators, once they are doing this full time and all of their money is only coming from YouTube, I think that they start to get very competitive even with their friends. Like they're probably reflecting numbers or asking each other's numbers and things like that, which I think is not a good idea. I am with Britt in the sentiment of to me, there is definitely a difference between people who do YouTube as a career and people who do YouTube not as their only financial means. That doesn't mean that they're not a full-time YouTuber, but if you're not relying on your YouTube money, then I think you are more willing to get canceled or to be your honest, true self and not be afraid to kick up stuff because you're not relying on the income. You're not like your livelihood doesn't depend on the money that you are getting from YouTube. I hope that makes sense. You don't like public shaming. You do believe some try to talk it out privately, then others gossip about it. So some feel they need to go public. Private means no one should know, in my opinion. I mean, you make a good point. It really depends on your perception of public and private and where those boundary lines are drawn. Looked at what happened with James Charles and Emma. They did handle things privately and people still talked about it and asked them about it. The platform forces you to be hyper public. I can see that argument too. I always disliked those girls in high school who couldn't decide if they liked you or not until their more dominant friend decided. That's just pack mentality. I get what you're saying, but I mean, that's ingrained, I think, in all societies, like the hierarchies. Growth happens in all relationships, sometimes disproportionately. Relationships change and sometimes dissolve as the participants no longer have as much in common, same goals, or different outlooks. Yeah, I agree. Unpopular opinion. Oops, that I just lost. Let me go back and try and find it. Unpopular opinion, receipts should not always be needed. I trust what my friends say in real life. So why can't YouTubers always have to have receipts? You know, Jakes, I don't know. I know at one point I was getting a little bit of criticism because I wasn't showing receipts when I was talking about commentary on not just like any of these topics. I've talked about a couple of different topics since I've started the commentary journey, and I had comments and DMs here and there like it would help if you showed the receipts, it would help validate your opinion. And I understand where those people are coming from because so many drama channels do show receipts, and I have tried to get better about including them when I feel it is important to see them. But the problem I find with receipts, and I don't know if people really think about, you can have something in black and white, but it's all about how it's being presented. We have seen this with Katie Joy. She has provided receipts, but her context around providing said receipts has been incorrect. and has led her audience to think things very disgusting of other people because of how she provided the information leading up to the receipt, and then being very careful on what she read from and showed from the said receipt. So I am in agreement with you that I don't think receipts always should be held at face value. And when we are consuming content, often we're just listening and seeing. Partly, I know even for myself, I'm not even always watching the screen. I'm doing stuff with either my headphones in or playing on my TV while I do stuff around the house. So I don't know. I really don't know why this whole thing with having to have the receipts and the proof became an issue, unless you are really like really having to show what you're trying to say. I don't think it's always necessary to have them, in my opinion. Well, drama brings in views no matter what. And that's just because as humans, we're curious. And if we don't have anything going on in our lives, we like to see what's going on in other people's lives. Hey, Michelle. This is why I would never do YouTube full time. Too much drama combined with pressure. Yeah. I'm somebody who, although YouTube can be consuming and take up a lot of time, I have to I don't think I could ever work from home. I've had this conversation with you guys before. I need to have to get out, and I like to work with people. So, that's why I have a degree that I do. So I like to work out in the community and help better people's lives to the best of my ability. So I don't think I could ever do YouTube full time. Mean Girls routine is just annoying. You agree? When YouTube becomes the only source of someone's income, it starts to show in their content. Yeah, I think that's kind of a general consensus moving across lately. Has anyone been paying attention to the Pokey Fedmeister Google Docs going around? I haven't. I've heard bits and pieces about that whole situation, which has been ongoing, it seems like. So I don't feel comfortable providing the opinion I have because I haven't seen near enough to be able to form an actual opinion to share with you guys. If that's something you're interested in me looking into, let me know. I will. I've seen bits and pieces, like I said. I've just not fully invested in it. Well, I hope you guys are driving safely. Oops. I just missed a whole bunch of the chat. Let me try to go back. Madison says, it bothered me with the Jeffree Star series by Shane. He clickbaited the Dramageddon stuff and then didn't post it. Then when people asked about the gaslighting, you're glad she said something. You think receipts come with the fact that now the public is judge, jury, and executioner. And with social media, we're all on trial with the public. Receipts are like screenshots or video clips of whatever behavior you're addressing or whatever drama you're talking about. How boring would it be if we all had the same opinion? I agree. It bothers you that she leads with her politics and allows her fans in the comments to call the other political party cult members. Recently, I'm not justifying that behavior. If they're calling, there should be some kind of managing of your comment sections. Recently, I have had, a couple of videos here or live streams posts where I provide my opinion and people don't agree with my opinion, and that's fine. And I've seen a little bit of discussion occurring in the comments, and I will admit at times it is hard for me to decide as a creator if it is a healthy discussion or not, because it's text. I don't hear somebody's tone of voice. I can't tell if there's sarcasm behind it. And I don't want to assume the way I read a comment is how it was intended. So I have personally recently found myself like leaving comments, hoping that they're not offensive to the original poster. And I hope, and I'm going to state here, if you ever get a comment from someone else, if it offends you in my comment section, just let me know in DMs. That way I can delete it or address it with that person. But I will say at times it's hard, but if it's very obvious that it's hate, like calling the other political party a cult member, like that's not very mature. It doesn't help the climate at all. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about, and I know we're probably going to run out of time, but let's go ahead and start the conversation about Without a Crystal Ball. It's been a while since I have talked about her. A lot of that is because I've been sick and just because I've been trying to, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was trying to pull back from consuming nothing but her content because that's what was happening. I was starting to just really, to keep up with her, you have to stay so engaged in all social medias, and I was getting tired of it. Like, people who want to give her criticism, like creators, we are having to make sure, well, let me say from my perspective, if I'm going to talk about it to the degree I had been, I was having to watch all of her content to be able to pick up all of the nuances that she was putting out there and it was like every couple of days I was feeling like, to keep you guys updated on my opinions, because I knew more was going to happen, I needed to do a video or get on stream with you guys. And I enjoyed having those conversations and I don't want them to go away, but I don't want to be solely consumed by Without a Crystal Ball because I don't like her content. And she does frustrate me because she is such a hypocritical contradiction of a human being. And what she does at times is super disgusting behavior. And I cannot always feed into that. I just can't. And that's why I have kind of backed off of keeping up with all of her stuff. I have seen and I have watched a couple of her videos that are clickbaited. I have watched, some of her live streams. I have been trying to keep up with her Twitter to the best of my ability. So I still have opinions, but I mean, they're not going to be as in-depth as they were before. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, because I can't consume her all the time and not end up being a Without a Crystal Ball critique channel. And I don't want to do that. However, what I will say is she tried for a solid several days to put forth this persona that she was not going to feed into anything anymore, that she was going to be nice, and all the criticisms that she's heard, she was really hearing them out and trying to adjust her behavior. And even in the videos where she was trying to pull this off, I noticed she was still making little jabs. And I know people who criticize her and critique her probably observed them. She was still kind of snapping at some of the comments and being very picky about which one she would address. So the behavior was still occurring, but it wasn't as much in your face like she was doing before. Combine that with some of her posts on Instagram where she was saying she was going to be unapologetically her, kind of saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with my personality or how I do my job, is how I took it. So those of you who have criticisms can F off. That's kind of how I was taking her post. And I was like, man, yeah, you're really changing here, sweetheart. You really are. You really are putting your best foot forward. Obviously, I'm saying that with sarcasm. I hope you guys can see through that. But I was just like, really? Like, really? And then she put out the apology recently of acknowledging her poor coverage of the Sophie case. And my face dropped. I was like, seriously? Like, now that you are trying to push out this I'm so great personality and try and include your viewers, you are now going to try and apologize months after you have done nothing but defend yourself and try and say that Creepshow lied in her video and say that other creators lied and you privacy struck channels because of their coverage of this. You are now going to admit that you fucked up. But where, if you had changed, if you genuinely had changed, you would have, in addition, apologized to all of those channels that you said lied about it, which you never have. From what I have seen, you have not apologized to anybody outside of Emily D. Baker. And then, ironically, within a day or two after you legitimately publicly apologize to her, you then retweet an old clip of what she was saying that could be assumed to be controversial. On context, you can make that controversial. I will tell you, I didn't find an issue with what Emily was saying, but I think differently than I think a lot of other people do. I didn't see it coming from a place of racism. She, in my opinion, she was trying to address the issues, like the larger issues within the justice system, and acknowledge that the bigger picture of what had been going on. She wasn't, in my opinion, of just watching that one little clip, it wasn't what people were trying to make it seem like. Can I see where if you just see that clip, it being an issue? Yeah, but that you have to know of Emily's background and where she's coming from and the jobs that she has worked as a district attorney. There was reason behind what she was saying. And what I found funny was when Nate supported what Emily's tweet was. Because what Katie, I think, had hoped was that people would jump on her bandwagon because she got this from a friend of hers. It was all very suspicious. And for somebody who has changed and who is not, feeding into the drama and everything, she is creating drama currently. Like, doing that with a large platform is creating drama. It really is. Like, at the end of the day, that's kind of what she was doing. What am I missing in the comments? Let me come back and see what you guys are saying. The video of her 4 cats and 2 dogs was very cute. An animal lover must have a good heart too. I still like her. And everybody's willing, like, you're more than welcome to like her. I've said this before, especially when I talked about in my last live stream with the Dad Challenge podcast, you can like a creator and still provide them criticism. Where has the YouTube viewer creator issues become? If you have criticism of a creator, you don't like them and you're a part of this hate train. Hence why I don't like the term hate. There are too many serious terms being used on this platform, and it's creating a more toxic environment on the internet, all like across all boards, in my opinion, because she can put out good content. If you like other content, then you probably like her channel. I mean, there's nothing wrong with liking her or her content, but my thing is, I just want people to be aware of her poor behaviors. So if you see something, not to just totally believe what you hear and what you see on her content, because oftentimes it's not always correct. But she will push the narrative for months that it's correct, or even a year. Look at this stuff going on with Leslie Bass. This stuff happened a year ago. She showed legitimate video proof, receipts, and everything that what Katie had said when Katie had a larger platform than her was wrong. And Katie still got on a live stream and said the total opposite, still trying to say that Leslie is lying and that she did something illegal. Which, if I recall correctly, is that not part of the reason why she's involved in a huge lawsuit right now? I'm not trying to like be petty, but I'm just saying like you have to be able to at least make those observations so you're not wholeheartedly believing everything. You can like somebody and not believe their content. You can watch somebody's content and just be wary that maybe everything you're being told isn't at what it is being said as. You're in GA. Okay, yeah. That doesn't sound healthy. Glad you take care of yourself. I appreciate that. I try to. The whole house is a mess. Oh, are you guys talking about the Pokimane Fred Meyer stuff? KJ is all about the money. She puts herself out there and whines about it. I mean, inherently, if you're going to do YouTube as a job, and you're all about the money, then to me, like, at least just be honest about it. Stop trying to say you're not if you are, because that will go a long way. And it honestly would excuse some of your behaviors, or at least explain why you do things the way you do. Like, people kept calling her out for clickbaiting, and she's like, I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not clickbaiting. She's definitely clickbaiting. Like, what she is doing right now is the definition of clickbaiting. She's putting titles out there to cause you to click and watch, thinking she's going to talk about one thing when she really talks about a totally different thing that's not even related. And she tries to loop it in somehow because she knows what she is doing. Why continue to lie about it? Like, she's a pathological liar. Just say, yeah, I clickbaited you. Clickbait isn't that's part of what you should do if you're wanting to get views, is to clickbait your audience. Or clickbait the audience. That way, if your video happens to hit the algorithm, people will want to click your video over others. Without a crystal ball, at times can talk a real game. I just lost your comment somehow, Amber. I don't know where it's at. I'm trying to find it. If I can, I'm sorry. I thought I found it, but I didn't. Oh, here it is. Without a crystal ball, at times can talk a real good game. Her actions is where it falls apart for me. I really wish she'd work on being a better person, but I'm not holding my breath. It really is up to her at this point. She doesn't think there's anything wrong with her, what she does. I think that's becoming more and more clear as time goes on. Stop defending yourself then. Like, if you don't think you're doing anything wrong, why are you letting it get to you so much? Like, that's a question I have. You saw the stream where she said she had been mentally chill the last few weeks. I brought up that she essentially threatened self-harm online. The stream was taken down. A lot of her streams have been taken down. I've seen partial parts and had intended to go back and watch them before I came to you guys and talked to you guys about everything, but I couldn't find them. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's enough clips and parts floating around either Twitter or the Reddit to be able to make an opinion, so to speak. But it should take time. You blame Amazon. I don't think Jakes, I think I did see your video that you made. I don't think I commented on it, but I did see it. So I'm going to get through your comments here. And then after we get through your comments, I'm probably going to get off of here since we're technically over an hour and a half. I seem to have missed quite a bit of the conversation. Just starting. Yeah, I've seen, have you done another video or is there just one up there? Editing is not my friend. I agree. She's even trying to jump on the Angelica stuff. She is grasping at straws. She, you know, what's kind of funny to me, well, I don't know if funny is the right word, but what is weird, I don't know the right adjective to use. She says she's not about covering YouTubers, and that's kind of been one of her things about fighting the criticism, is that she doesn't really cover YouTubers, even though when you look back in her history, she has always covered YouTubers. She's doing that more so right now than she really has before. I think since, from me watching her since the Micah Stauffer coverage forward, she has, if anything, increased her coverage of YouTube creators versus other stuff. I know she continues to do her content on the Duggars and the Sister Wives and Teen Mom stuff, but she has amped up her coverage of YouTube creators. And I mean, I don't know why she wants to say she hasn't, when aside from her like privating stuff, but if her videos weren't privated and her live streams weren't privated, could you imagine, like, if somebody sat down and took apart all of her videos? Like, I would almost be willing to say they're about even, her reality TV coverage and her YouTube creator coverage. I've built a few relationships that started as YouTube and now are close outside of YouTube. It wasn't easy, and I'm leery of sharing too much. Glad I did, though. Yeah, Claire, I think having friendships from YouTube is hard, or any social media platform, because you see all too often people playing nice or saying that they're going to be nice, and then I'm not saying that they're necessarily stabbing you in the back, but they will tell you one thing and then do another, right? So it feels like a betrayal to some degree. All I can say for anybody who is wanting to have any kind of friendship with anybody else online, just be careful. Don't provide too much private information that you wouldn't want to be public until you fully trust that person, and let the relationship grow naturally, is what I would say. Even Emily stated she understood why people would be upset by that clip without context. Yeah, I mean, at face value, if you didn't know Emily, you'd never seen her, and you just heard that little clip, I can see where people can get the wrong impression of what she was trying to say. Yeah, what she did to Leslie Bass, I had always heard bits and pieces, but I didn't dig back to figure out all of that stuff, mainly out of respect for Leslie, because I had heard in other people's streams them say she doesn't want it talked about. So I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole and then feel like I was at this moral questioning ground where they don't want it talked about, but I've looked into it and I feel I need to talk about it. So I'm glad that Leslie has come out and like put everything out and said what it is for how it is, and provided context for people who are giving her a hard time for doing that. I think they need to really self-reflect, to be honest, because as humans, like, I think it shows more growth as an adult to not instantly react and feel the need to defend herself or her family, although I wish she had, just to prevent some of the backlash that she's getting currently. But I don't think it warrants, like, she really is showing a pattern of behavior for Katie. She is now finally wanting to defend herself, and we have to think, like, surrounding the issue was something very upsetting, can be very traumatic for family, not only herself, but her family members involved. So we need to be human if you're one of those people who have provided her criticism for that, and think of the circumstances. Like if you had found yourself in the situation her and her family were in at that time, do you think defending yourself to a YouTube bully would have really helped at all? If anything, it could have provided more questions. And if she wasn't in the state to want to deal with it, it wouldn't have benefited her at all at that time. Thank you, Jessie Cat. I appreciate that. Yeah, she did. She attacked her and lied. Criticism somehow has started being seen as hate, and it's such a shame. You know, the reason, and I'm not trying to get, I agree with you. The reason my interpretation that the reason of criticism has, the word criticism is no longer being used, hate is being used. And I think Katie is a large factor in that, as well as other channels who want to say, yeah, I got a lot of hate because of that. No, like there is a line between people giving you criticism and people being hateful. You can get criticism which you don't agree with. We're human. We're probably going to get defensive to anybody saying something that they don't agree with. But if it's not just downright nasty and calling you names or saying that you're stupid or insulting you to some degree, it's not hate. Can somebody say, I think your opinion on this was stupid because X, Y, and Z? Although it's not nice, that is criticism. It's maybe not constructive, but it's criticism. Saying, I think you're stupid is hate, or could be perceived as hateful. There's a difference. These creators need to stop saying, oh, I'm getting a lot of hate. I know at times, especially when they're talking about controversial things, they are probably getting some very disgusting messages, which do fall under the category of hate, but don't categorize it all as hate. That is going on way too much on this platform. And it's, I think it's fostering a very sensitive and toxic community, to be quite honest. The truth is not petty. I agree with you. It's just chat. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, we're almost done. I'm just going to get through you guys' comments and then I'm going to go. Tati's lawyer should just turn this into a class action lawsuit. If you or someone you know has been defamed and slandered by Katie Joy Paulson, you may be entitled to financial compensation. This KJ crap did to, yeah. She knew exactly what she was doing. I think, and I've said that since all this law stuff has been going on, I think Katie is, I think she is constructing some of this. Like, did she construct the lawsuit? No, but she is thinking, she's not unintelligent. So she's been on this platform long enough to know at this point what's going to get clicks, and she is doing what she's doing now intentionally. I don't think this is some big ploy for her to, I know at one point people were concerned that she was going to try and take like an insanity plea. A lot of people had corrected that, and even my misinformation, which I said I didn't know if that was even possible in civil cases, it's not. So people were trying to maybe justify her behavior as that way. She's doing this intentionally. She has bills to pay. She has, I'm sure, attorney's fees to pay. So she is going to do what she can to continue people being interested and invested in her and whatever crap she is spewing, because it changes all the time from what I'm seeing. You think some people have blurred the line of hate and bullying with calling out bad behavior? I think so too. I think it's happening more and more. And that's a touchy subject, but I understand what you're saying and I agree with you. there is a line there, and it can be crossed. And I think there are several creators who have been and continue to cross that line. Did you see her Insta where she said she isn't going to apologize and react however she wants? Basically retracting all she's said lately. I mean, and is that not like what has been going on for years now? Literally for 2 years. She has been on this platform for 2 years. She continues to say this 18-month thing. She's been on this platform for 2 years. She wants to talk about how she was a writer before. So you have been an online presence for a while now. You know how this stuff works. She wants to try and say there's a difference in writing and YouTube. I'm sure there is a difference. I would think the difference, and this is just me making assumptions, so take this at whatever value you want, but I would think as a writer, you would need to have more integrity than what you need to have as a YouTube creator. And I don't mean that to sound poor or to talk poorly about YouTube creators, but when you're writing, if you are not providing like a blog, like your personal stuff, and you are talking about other people, you will need to have sources, and you will need to source those sources appropriately and things of that nature. So I find it weird that she is coming from what I perceive that's how that community goes to a community here where it's more based off of opinion if you do it correctly. And she doesn't seem to have gotten the hint in either one, from my opinion, what I've seen. I would think if she was a writer before, she would have hold herself to higher higher integrity, and have herself up higher in how she talks about things and talks and discusses controversial topics and things. But in reality, she is very flippant. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but her saying, I came from the writing world and the writing world was different. That's what I think of when I think of the writing world. So either you weren't, in my opinion, either she wasn't a very good writer as far as what I perceive online writers being, or she just was doing blog stuff and wasn't really a writer. Honestly, I don't know where it lies. I've read like one of her articles, and it seemed to be more of a blog article than a writer, which a blogger can be related to a writer because you're writing it out. But the way that she talks about being a writer, from what I have seen, she's talked about it in a sense that she was like this esteemed writer. Yeah, I think Leslie handled herself very well during all of that stuff. Oops. I never consider myself a bully, and yet lately cannot say a word without being attacked as one. Yeah, I mean, there's some of these terms that are being used, and I honestly think a lot of it has to do with how creators are using them in their content when they're talking either in live streams or in pre-recorded videos. They are using these terms and not associating it with what it actually is, whether it is that creator's legitimate perception of what that word is, because my perception of hate can be different from another creator's perception of hate. My perception of bullying can be different from someone else's. I try to go by like the textbook definition and not so much my opinion of what falls into those categories. Yeah, agreed. People are using bullying instead of criticisms as well. I see that too. She cannot count months. Not count months. She is worse than me at. I think I missed a part of the chat. She must be watching or have someone watching. Watching what? What did I miss? I don't know why I let myself be surprised by her behavior. Yeah, at this point, almost nothing she's done is surprising. It's getting to a point where I can predict what she is, or what close to what she is going to do next, because the pattern is that strong. Can I quote your quotes about microaggression in my live about special needs parents today? Yeah, I don't care if you quote me. You think someone posted a screenshot of her LinkedIn after you saw it? People can give criticism but can't take criticism, so they scream bully, hate, and trolls. I agree with you. It's just chat. I mean, and I will admit I've gotten criticism here and there about different things, and that's fine. When I read like harsh criticism, I'm not gonna lie, like I get a little defensive, but I don't respond to that person in the defensive reaction. I'm like, I get defensive that they're judging me, but that's what criticism is their perception of a mistake that I've made. And I think about it and I really take a step back. And oftentimes the criticism is legit. I've had a lot of people comment in some of my other live streams. I've mentioned it a few times that I took too long to start talking about the topic. And I've been defensive in saying, well, it's a live stream and you're watching it in replay, so it's going to take longer, which is true. However, that's why in today's live stream, I tried to stay on each topic I intended to talk to you guys about, to make it easier for people who do watch this in replay, because it was a legitimate criticism. It really was. And initially I wanted to defend myself because I'm a person, but I didn't. I said, okay, I appreciate that. I will take it into consideration. That is the message I left. To me, that's what behaving as an adult is like. And I know there's harsher criticisms people will give and say, and that's fine. But we need, as a creator, you need to either learn how to step away before you respond or react, or have somebody else going through those comments for you if you can't handle it. Your channel was taken down this week for no reason. You don't even create content, only write on my discussion page. Won't my appeal with YouTube in less than 24 hours? I'm furious still. Oh, I'm sorry that has happened. That stinks. Hopefully your appeal goes well for you. The definition of these words are somewhat subjective. I agree. They can definitely be subjective. If you had a hate train before, in my opinion. Well, I mean, it's just interesting that, you know, and confusion still lies with me about this is Katie will say she's been dealing with the hate and the trolls for 18 months. And then she says she came on this platform 18 months ago, which I know is not factual. I know she came on this platform 2 years ago, but like, I don't know why she's saying that, because then it makes it seem like you came to the platform with people who didn't like you. So what did you do to incite this much frustration people have towards you? Storming your stream, you mean? I don't know if I missed something. It's just chat. You worked in a call center and took complaints. You've heard it all. I mean, if you've really worked with people or in customer service, you have heard it all. I have had parents. I know I've talked briefly about the kind of work I have done before, but when people provide me criticism and stuff like that, I take more offense to it because I'm trying to build a community here. But like in my personal life, when I have previous jobs I have worked, I have come up on individuals who are actively under the influence, questioning them about their parenting and them freaking out. I have been threatened to my face before, like my safety. I have been called every name under the sun to my face before by parents. I have had people threaten me before, like this. So I handle hate and people coming at me differently because I've dealt with this stuff in real life. And what people, a lot of the things that people will say is, you wouldn't say this to my face. Anything I have said online to about any creator, I would say to their face. I would have these conversations with them. I 100% would. I've had to have harder conversations with people threatening my life. So yes, I would. And I think having that grounding part for me is a lot of what separates me from some other creators and how they do their content. Ouch. What lip gloss am I wearing? This is the Fenty Beauty Hot Chocolate little one. This came in her holiday lip gloss set last year. In a way she did, as she had already made a mess on Facebook. Her reputation came with her. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not super surprised. That's always just been like something I've not been able to really figure out. She keeps jumping platforms and leaves destruction behind. I think it was yesterday in Charlotte's chat, someone said when telemarketers call, they put the phone down and let with. That's kind of. I wonder if they've actually done it or if it was just a joke. They said, oh, I'm sure this would be funny. Let me type this out. I worked in a call center and a customer literally accused you of lying about where you're from because apparently he's been there and claimed he's never heard my accent. I mean, that's just stuff like that. To me, it just makes me laugh. Like, really? I mentioned Katie and her mission to take down people. They reversed the decision, but they couldn't provide me with why they had terminated my account. If you have Twitter, I would try and tweet at Team YouTube to get, because if they reversed it, your channel, I would think, would return. Thank you for doing. Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm not currently in that field, so. When they think they're on hold. Yeah, I can imagine some things people say when they think they're on hold. For context, you're in Wales in the UK, and he said he's been all over the UK, never heard my accent. I mean, I don't think that's very fair because I may sound ignorant in this, but doesn't different sections of the UK, you all kind of speak a little bit differently and have a little bit different of an accent? So that's super, ignorant to say. So funny, you stand perfectly still, don't even blink while reading a text. It's way too close, always, oops, just happened. You don't move a muscle, so I think it's over what it's not. You're guilty of saying things while on hold. I mean, I think we're all guilty of getting like extra charges or something like that and calling the call center super frustrated and worked up. In your profession, you've seen almost everything. Yeah, I did online chat customer service. It was the best. I bet that probably was fun. Alrighty, guys. Well, I definitely exceeded my hour-and-a-half time limit, but I need to go so we can start to get this house ready. We have less than 2 weeks. So, oh, also, I probably should have said this at the beginning of the stream when I was saying I felt better. I did get my results yesterday. I tested negative for COVID. So, for those of you who are still here, I don't have COVID since my initial test that I got a week ago. Never got the results from, but currently I don't have it. So that's great. But I will see you guys later. I'm going to put up the poll probably today about what day to have open discussions on, because I know Wednesdays seem to have become overloaded with other creators that I know you guys are interested in viewing, and I don't want to make you guys have to feel you have to pick one creator over the other. So I'm going to give you guys the option to do that vote. If I can remember, I will put it on Twitter as well. If you have any questions or anything, or you have any topic ideas you want to contribute to that, feel free to DM me. It may take some time since I'm going to be doing stuff around the house today, but I will try to get back to you guys as quick as I can. With that being said, I hope you all have a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.